For our final piece this evening, we have a scene from Slugger, written by Jay Miller. Abandoned by her mother and coached by her unloving father, a high school baseball prodigy with a hot temper and thunderous bat must confront old school coaches, jealous teammates, injuries, and her own sexual identity on an inspirational quest to be the first woman to play in the majors. Jimmy is a screenwriter and editor from a small town in Ohio who now works in Burbank, where he secretly edits network reality shows when not writing screenplays. Please welcome Jimmy Miller.
Secretly. Well, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here, and it's really fun to be able to thank the Academy when it's not just in my imagination. So thank you very much to the Academy, to Joan, Chris, Eric, Don, and Gee Nicholl, and the amazing and generous Nicholl Fellowship Committee. I'd also like to congratulate the other 4 fellows, Kayla, Harris, Brent, and C. Craig. It's been great getting to know you this past week. And as a former friend of mine loved to say, congratulations on tying for 5th. I also want to thank the Cinestory Foundation for being so crucial to my growth as a writer, which I feel has just begun, and for bringing amazing writer friends into my life, so many of whom are here tonight to celebrate with me. Special thanks to Sarah Sinclair, who's here all the way from Alaska, Sophie Smythe, who's here all the way from Australia, and Kimon Kufujianis, who's here all the way from Koreatown. Thank you all so much for being here, being my friends, and making me a better writer. When I completed the first draft of Slugger, my friend Molly was the first to read it. She recently reminded me that she read it while she was pregnant with her first daughter. That daughter just turned 20. And while I don't recommend taking 20 years to get a screenplay right, and thankfully my manager couldn't be here to hear that, sometimes there's a value in a long journey and being a late bloomer. The early draft was good, very good. It even won some major contests. But the truth was, while many people loved the script, I only liked it. I knew it wasn't close to what it could be. So I struggled for a long time with rewrites. I'd tear it down and start from page 1, abandon it for years, write other things, come back to it, tear it down, rebuild it from scratch again. But I simply couldn't figure out what was missing. And it wasn't until the pandemic, when the entire world shut down, that I truly had the chance to explore what was going on with me. In the months of isolation, I finally realized that my lack of connection to that story was because of my lack of connection to my own story. I was very reluctant to be vulnerable about my own struggles and fears, and to use them honestly in my writing. Art is supposed to be a conversation, but I was mostly absent from the discourse. And I wasn't even sure how to fix it. Slugger is about a bisexual high school girl who just might be the best high school baseball player in the country. And even though you can probably tell just by looking, I am none of those things. But as a neurodiverse kid raised by a very independent single mom and 2 domineering older sisters, who's walked through addiction and social anxiety and grief, I know what it's like to feel isolated, abandoned, misunderstood, and underestimated. Universal feelings shared by so many across ages and generations. But it wasn't in my writing. It wasn't in my characters. I realized that if I wanted to connect, I needed to be braver. With a new dedication to honesty and vulnerability in my writing, Slugger transformed into a screenplay that I finally truly loved. And it's so humbling to discover that so many others seem to love it too. So I guess all this time, the thing that was missing from my writing was me. And so I arrive on the stage tonight grateful for the long journey that is only just beginning, grateful that I didn't give up on Slugger because it never gave up on me, and grateful that I learned enough and stuck around long enough to finally join the conversation. Thank you. Thank you. So the scene from Slugger you're about to hear is the emotional climax of the story. Callie, the gifted girl baseball player who's better than all the boys, finally confronts her mother, Jessica, who abruptly abandoned her, leaving with her abusive father when she was only 10 years old. Her mother's return 8 years later forces Callie to deal with feelings of anger and resentment over the past while trying to find a path to love her mother and be loved by her again. And it all comes to a head when the dreaded New York Yankees, I'm from Ohio, offer Callie a terrible free agent contract and pressure her to take it, claiming it's her only chance. Callie wants to take it, thinking it's the culmination of her dream to play in the majors, but her mother thinks very differently. And when the cars with the Yankee brass drive away, old wounds come to the surface.